Alright, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Mother's Basement. Gone and uploaded a video called Fashion in Shonen Anime. Pretty sure I checked out a video a while ago by Super Eye Patch Wolf that talked about like character design for like heroes and stuff. And I do feel like fashion is something that's quite overlooked, but is actually quite important for characters. One example I'm thinking of right now is I'm currently watching ReZero. As soon as I see Garfield come onto the screen and he's dressed the way he is, you kind of know he's going to be a bit of trouble, he's going to have a bit of an attitude going on. I think it helps people establish like quickly what kind of person you're going to expect to see on screen. But it can also work in the other way where it can like change it up a bit, like you expect that character to be like that and it's not. It's like, ooh, that's interesting. So let's see what Mother's Basement has to say on fashion in shonen anime, shall we? Eventually. Wait, you know, I've done the perfect lineup. There we go.
96% of all the discourse that has ever taken place involving shonen anime and/or manga has revolved around combat, with a solid 73% of those conversations having been started by some variation of the essential question: which anime fight guy is the fightiest?
Is the fightiest?
There are nearly infinite possible permutations of this query. Any combat-based comparison between two characters is really just a granular aspect of it, but all of them are equally pointless because the answer is Arale, and it has been since 1980.
Yeah, you can't beat Arale.
Manga Meta Knight from the brackets, though, the question doesn't get much more interesting, especially not now that Anos Woldigode exists. I absolutely understand why this conversation is so ubiquitous and unending. Anime fights are the apex of human artistic achievement, and once you've seen two or more anime, it becomes impossible not to imagine additional battles between your favorite fighters from them. And while we've all been busy expending words at each other, many of them quite cussy, over a topic that's mostly just fun to think about, we've left a lot of potentially fun to talk about ones languishing on the table, like the fashion choices of our favorite anime heroes, which are often more fly than Goku fly fishing from his flying nimbus through the window of an airplane that's being carried by Superman, who could maybe beat Goku in a fight, but definitely not in a fit-off, and he's not even close to the drippiest Dragon Ball character.
Why is everyone power scaling these characters? Why aren't we talking about what they're wearing?
Driving school ensemble,
that's hilarious.
Closely by Bulma in most of the things she wears, and then future Trunks inherited her fashion sense to tie Videl for third on the totally objective tier list that I just invented in my head. Hey, look at that! We've already managed to pull 4 Z-Fighters and friends into this conversation who'd hardly merit mention in a typical fight-focused fracas, and we've barely even begun. Whereas those arguments are so played out that one could predict the first 40 forum pages of any given death battle thread in a chess-style opening book, this conversational ground is so fertile and untrodden that I, a man who needs his girlfriend to dress him for the anime awards, can make meaningful contributions to it simply by gesturing toward clothing I enjoy. Like Vegeta's Batman shirt. Finally, he beats Goku at something. And I don't even have to gesture outside the boys club bubble in which I'm most comfortable, even though this video would definitely be better if I knew anything about Sailor Moon. But instead, I can point to the Tokyo street-style savviness of shonen contemporary Yu Yu Hakusho, which, in addition to raising the bar for writing and action in its genre, helped to forge a whole new bar made of gold in space on the fashion front. Sure, Dragon Ball had its stylish individuals to set it apart from the Mad Max chic of Fist of the North Star, but every single character in Yu Yu Hakusho is an entire look unto themselves. Even now, few shonen heroes can match the effortless. I feel like
Hunter x Hunter, but that's the same author, isn't it? Like, they're really good at standing out individually.
Or boss delinquent.
No one wears the same type of clothes in that.
Looks like he just swaggered off a runway, and even after 3 decades, most angsty sword boys are still playing catch-up to Hiei, who don't need no fidget spinner belts on his iconic black trench coat. And on the girls' end of things, Botan's fits
look like a fidget spinner.
Fire. This is the one area where Yu Yu Hakusho still outdoes Hunter x Hunter. Besides
there we go.
the template for the perfect tournament arc, this increased focus on fashion may be Yu Yu Hakusho's single greatest contribution.
This is such a weird look at shonen anime.
Though Togashi didn't make that contribution alone. 3 years before it started running, in 1987, Rumiko Takahashi accidentally invented harem anime with her answer to Dragon Ball, Ranma Half. And in that series, we get to see an eclectic collision between traditionally inspired
isn't that a guy that turns into a girl and back
comfy
into a
casual
guy?
80s Tokyo streetwear, resulting in what are still some of the cutest girls' fits in any boys manga ever, especially Shampoo, but especially Ranko. Also in 1987, Hirohiko Araki began JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
they're so
bringing
stylish.
his impossibly dapper Victorian gentleman and later World War II era Indiana Jones-inspired adventurers to the pages of Shonen Jump. That said, it would take the series a couple time skips to catch up to current trends in 1989, and even when he began working with modern styles, Araki continued marching to the bizarre beat of his own drum.
Dio
While
looks
you
so
will not
sick.
find a more iconic anime bancho than Jotaro Kujo, he's anything but quintessential. The huge gold chain,
character design on Jotaro is
zigzaggy belts,
boss.
and gold-buttoned hat that becomes hair at some indeterminate point on his skull all mark his aggressively customized
it's like goes with his characteristics, everything that Jotaro wears.
High fashion, an aesthetic that permeates all of Araki's work. In JoJo's world, everyone just hits the streets like models hitting the runway, right down to the statuesque posing. Each character possessed of their own wholly unique sense of style that
in part
perfectly matches
5,
their
I like his
personality.
poses.
Not every outfit's a winner, but the vast majority of them are, and Araki's designs have only gotten bolder and more beautiful with each subsequent installment. Perhaps one could argue that he peaked with Rohan Kishime and
does
Jolene
look
Kujo.
sick, and Jolene, that's the next one.
Focal point of his Gucci collabs, but the fact that he's done Gucci collabs kind of says everything.
It really
right there.
does. If he actually
When it
has
comes
actually
to
done Gucci
fashion in
collabs.
anime and manga, Hirohiko
Damn.
Araki's only real competition is himself, and he's never stopped trying to one-up that jerk at every turn. No shonen drips harder than JoJo, only differently.
Get that drip.
Yu Yu Hakusho drips differently. And because its approach to drawing on current trends is a lot easier to emulate than the incomprehensible genius of Araki's artwork,
Death
you tend
Dance.
to see more anime that drip
Yuri
like
on
it,
Ice, right.
or like it would if it were drawn
Is that
now.
free?
Even the creators of manga whose settings don't support modern fashion, like One Piece, will indulge themselves on occasion.
Oh yeah, they'll always do like
Many
covers and stuff, won't they?
with
That make
art
them look
spreads
quite
reimagining
modern.
their characters in street clothes and other fancier modern attire.
Sick.
When Oda's asked to do a fashion magazine cover,
Like Bleach.
he goes
Like
all
Bleach
out.
had very
Actually, I could write an entirely
casual, like,
separate
jacket
video
looks,
about
rich girl and
One
stuff at
Piece's
times.
sometimes cartoony pirate fashion, and probably will at some point in the future. Characters in One Piece change outfits with impressive regularity.
That's
it's got its
good
own
for a shonen.
in-universe labels. It's got Brook and Nami and Robin and Usopp. Heck, Oda's even thought about the individual fashion sense of each of the Straw Hat
Oh, so that
pirates
when they
and how
wear something
some,
different, it makes sense. That's
Luffy,
cool.
need a little help from others to not look like their mom picked out their swashbuckling attire. To loop back to JoJo, though, sorry, One Piece tends to distract me. There are some other
go back to
recent-ish
JoJo's. I'm cool with
shonen
that.
things with their own elevated sense of style. Shaman King springs to mind.
Yo.
Even as a kid who knew less than nothing about
Shaman
anything
King
related
was
to fashion,
sick.
I could tell Yo Asakura had it going on in a way that the heroes of most of my favorite other anime at the time
That cool
definitely
zip-up
did
thing
not.
with the
And his
cut
Nakama and
sleeves.
foes alike were equally styling. By the way, holy Metaroli, I am so excited
Yeah, for the
that
new remake. Yep.
You may have
This
noticed
year.
I said most just now, because there is one other anime franchise I loved as a kid that had drip for days, blending then
Yu-Gi-Oh!
punk style with
Yes.
a cyberpunk twist.
Everyone
and a
was
little
so
bit of
unique with their
Egyptian
style
bling
in that.
for flavor. That's right, I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh!, which in its heyday featured some of the dopest fits in anime, period. There has never been a better dressed man, fictional or otherwise, than Seto Kaiba, though Yami Yugi comes pretty close, especially when he stops using his sleeves.
Oof.
But really, just about everyone in the original anime looks great. Joey makes
Bandit
the simple
Keith.
t-shirt and jeans look work. Bakura rocks that striped undershirt button-up combo. Pegasus oozes as much class as he
Kaiba
does
boy.
generally creepy vibes. Merrick looks great in both
he's
his
so
mad
evil.
villain cape and that cool hoodie vest thing, and he's got just enough too much gold on. And then his sister Ishizu's dress is breathtaking in at least a couple ways, and with those hair accessories, she looks gorgeous veil on or off. My Valentine's fit was a favorite of mine when I was younger for
reasons.
Entirely unaesthetic reasons. But also I think the lace-up tube top mini vest, matching skirt, and detached sleeves look fantastic on her in as non-thirsty a way
censorship
as
on her
terminally
character.
male brain can process. And of course the ever-changing outfits of Taya Gardner can't be ignored either. From the cute pink vest she wore on Duelist Kingdom all the way up to the ponytail look she sports in Dark Side of Dimensions, she wears a lot of stuff that makes it hard to think about style. What I'm trying to say is that Kazuki Takahashi is a low-key master of horny fashion in a way that deeply affected me in my formative years, though at least he's equal opportunity with it.
Don't worry, Serenity. You're in good hands with Duke Devlin. Very good hands.
He wasn't as hands-on with the character design in later Yu-Gi-Oh! Entries, but his aesthetic sensibilities still informed those series' designs in very positive ways, at least early on in the franchise's history. I'd say that GX is probably the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fashion, simply because all of the Duel Academy's uniforms have a vague Kaiba-ness to them.
Right.
Even some of the teachers got style to spare.
It is a bit grim that they're all wearing the same kind of thing,
Kaiba
though.
Man, who's just Kaiba, but with a Blue Eyes White Dragon helmet, which, scientifically speaking, makes him more Kaiba than Kaiba
himself.
and thus the flyest Yu-Gi-Oh! Character by default.
Whoa.
Things went a bit downhill with 5Ds. The cyberpunk biker garb is just a little on the busy side, though it does fit the series' very extra setting, and Akiza and Jack Atlas, at least, are still decently drippy, which becomes increasingly harder to say about any character from Zexal onward. It feels like the series started ignoring real trends altogether
and just
favor of
making stuff up
accentuating
completely.
its own Yu-Gi-osity, and it increasingly does not work. Then Sevens went way too hard in the other direction and just ended up looking like a generic Yu-Gi-Oh! Knockoff.
Oh, no.
But I am trying to make a mostly positive video about shonen anime drip here, not continue my TED Talk on the decline of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's take a quick break from the card game ad for an entirely different kind of ad before we shift gears to something that still has style. A lot of people have a lot of feelings about how Bleach went down, but there's not a single soul on this planet who will tell you that Tite Kubo's fashion game ever declined. From its inception, Bleach had the best-dressed characters in modern manga, each decked out in constantly rotating, street-savvy attire.
Very
One almost
street-savvy.
suspects that Kubo had more fun dressing these characters than he did using them in stories and fights.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
No. Is unparalleled. On every splash page, in every OP and ED, Bleach's characters
always look so
dressed
stylish.
getting out in get-ups that would make any Tokyo trend hopper salivate.
go.
And on top of that, the series features some of the slickest fantasy fashions out there. Every captain of the Soul Society is a style icon. It helps
but the way that they changed their robes goes along with their
striking
persona.
But each one makes it their own by accessorizing, pulling their hair up, and just wearing it different. The rank and file Soul Reapers look pretty damn good in their own right, too. The simple black uniforms, nothing to sneeze at.
It's like Kenpachi, he's like got the sleeves ripped and everything. It shows like his rugged personality.
I also like the contrast with what the Arankar wear, both in terms of how the uniforms are colored and shaped. They wear Western-style button or zip-up jackets over their white hakama, as opposed to the traditional Japanese black kosode of the Shinigami. As I mentioned in my Fave Fights 2020 video, Tite Kubo's proven he's still got it with Burn the Witch, and it's really cool watching him break away from the style of Tokyo and Harajuku to draw on London's fashion scene instead. But in talking about that, I'm pulling the conversation toward the current state of shonen drip, and before we get there, I want to take some time to appreciate a different show about style and Shinigami, Soul Leader. There are two types of clothing in anime. Forever clothes, the cool get-up your hero Naruto's around in for all of his life, or until a time skip gives him a redesign,
the same thing over and over.
Actual clothes that human beings would change out of and throw in the wash regularly. Typically, manga whose heroes change their clothing tend to be more fashion conscious, which makes sense if you think about it. If you're thinking about that stuff as a writer, you probably have some interest in it as an artist, too. You're inclined to design fashion. Whereas if you think of your heroes as heroes in costumes that you draw, Well,
you're not going to change it about, I
Naruto
guess.
sure
Yeah.
does wear a neon orange jumpsuit. Not saying it's not a look, just that it's a look.
Yeah.
Naruto has a strong personal brand. Every character in Soul Eater also has a strong personal brand. Their clothing is so tightly tied to their designs that their characters could not exist without it. What would Death the Kid be without the majestic symmetry of his dad's face jacket to offset
No, it's meant to be a joke though, isn't it? Like, he loves the
asymmetry
symmetry, so the hair is like not
what
symmetrical.
are Patty and Liz without their perfectly mismatched va-va-voom cowgirl get-ups? Without that gangsta fit, how are we supposed to know not to fuck with Soul? The only other thing he can exist
when he
in
wore that
is
suit.
a satanic zoot
That's
suit.
so cool.
And yet, that zoot suit is fly as fuck. As is his regular tracksuit. Black Star's outfit is loud. As loud as
he
it
is.
can go,
Yeah.
and it goes to 11. It's all the ninja. Wow, Black Star, very cool. But it is not, I cannot stress this enough, a neon orange jumpsuit. This, my friends, is
what
a
ninja.
look.
Yeah.
The flared collar highlights his
Give him that.
on-brand hairstyle perfectly. His tank top and pants are just the right level of baggy, accentuating his muscles and long legs. The gloves are your perfect one allotted accessory. The bolted-on metal ninja scarf is exactly too much enough. This is the fit of a man who knows he's amazing and is just waiting for the time he doesn't fail to prove it to everyone.
Yeah.
Black Star drips. The entire
The timing
cast
on that
of
shot
Soul
was class.
drips in ways that anime characters designed around their costumes rarely do. I am continually amazed by the level to which these clothes work. Maka might be the coolest shonen protagonist. And then, on the other
My
hand,
Hero
in a show that has
Academia.
both forever costumes and normal clothes, there's Deku. Look, I love superhero costumes. I think My Hero Academia has very cool superhero costumes. Horikoshi clearly studied the heck out of some quality Spider-Man stuff. But cool superhero costumes, as we established with my diss on Superman at the start of this video, are not fashion. Unless they're Edna Mode originals or worn by non-Peter Parker Spider people, or Mina Ashido, obviously.
Obviously.
And neither are most of the casual fits in Hiroaka. Like, Mina, Kaminari, and Jiro are the only characters who show any personality or sense of
In their
style
clothes,
in their
yeah.
choice of clothing.
Yeah.
Himiko Toga's whole thing is just being messy on purpose, and she's still got one of the strongest
psycho
looks
girl.
simply by virtue of having a thing at all. Most of the characters just look dorky, whether they're out on the town, lounging around at the
Yeah.
dorm, in class, or going to a fancy party. Even the class bullies a dork. And that makes sense. They're in a top prep school for super cops, two of the dorkiest conceivable institutions. But then, most of the villains are pretty dorky.
Dorky as
too.
well,
Like,
yeah, they don't have really
Stain
interesting
is
designs.
just a
Yeah.
psychotic All Might nerd wearing all of the Ninja Turtles laundry
It is
at the
Ninja
same
Turtles,
time.
yeah.
Mr. Compress is the most strikingly stylish member of the League of Villains, and he is literally a magician.
Yeah.
Overhaul almost had something going on with the
I did
warning
like
plague
Overhaul's
mask and
little
faux fur
jacket and
lining
that,
of
and
his
the
green jacket,
fluff.
but then he had to go and ruin it with the white work gloves that match his shoes that match his tie. After
yeah.
Labor Day. Ugh. To be clear, Hiroaka's
This
got
is such a weird
incredibly
video.
strong visual design.
I was not
in most
expecting
other
the video to be like
departments.
this.
You'll just
I do
find
like
better
that. It's a
bits for its
fun take
characters
on it,
and
though.
A lot of fan art. And that's fine, because plenty of modern shonen are picking up the slack for its lack of decent slack.
Best Junist.
It's a terrible one, but I felt compelled to include it. Black Clover, for example, has some of the coolest Western fantasy clothes I've seen in anime. Even in the first episode, both Asta and Yuna have a clear sense of style,
Yeah.
and the mini wizard cloaks they get
Black
when they
Bull's
join their
cloaks look so
respective squads
sick.
perfectly complete their respective looks. Those cloaks are straight up genius, in my opinion. Just big enough to give every squad mate a uniform look, while leaving plenty of room for individual stylization.
Yeah, to add their personality to
both
it,
in
just
how
like in
the
Bleach with the
characters
robes and
choose
that
to
for the
wear them,
Shinigami and that. Yeah.
and what they wear under and over them. They're every bit as brilliant as the Soul Reaper uniform.
There we go.
which is saying a
Yeah.
lot. I could, and maybe will at some point, make a whole video just talking about fantasy military uniforms and stuff like that. FMA, Attack on Titan, Seraph of the Edge, Valkyria
Seraph of the
Chronicles.
End, not Seraph of the Edge.
Diss Naruto a little bit, because like the headbands are
Although it might have been a joke there, because it's edgy.
Man, whoever wore one of those to school, you know those headbands are not cool. You see the former two of those everywhere in anime cons for good reason, though. On the subject of uniforms, Jujutsu Kaisen's school uniform game is exceptionally on point in a tastefully low-key way. From Yuji's comfy red collar to Toge's turtleneck to Kugisaki's belt, which really accentuates her figure perfectly, to Satoru Gojo's eye wrap, everyone
it's so simple, but it's just like
enough to distinguish themselves without undermining the fundamentally simple style of the uniform itself. Except Megumi, who does nothing with it, which is also perfect accessorization, because he is canonically very boring. And
it makes sense that he wouldn't do anything to it.
His boringness stand out as interesting. That's an important thing to remember. Fashion game is a meta game. You gotta pay attention to what the other players are doing, if only so you can more confidently ignore it. Like Satoru Gojo does, still wearing his school uniform and making it work, despite working as a teacher. And then on the flip side, you've got Nanami, rocking that salary man chic. Dotted tie, excellent choice, and those goggle glasses
are sick.
Just the right level of strangeness to the ensemble. Like Bleach, these characters
he wears his
also
hair
look
just
like
right as well.
The whole first ED is just them doing a casual fashion show, conveying their personalities to us solely through style and body language. Kugisaki showing us that she's got both impeccable, understated taste with the simple overall ensemble, and also that she's got a hyperactive too much gene with all those shopping bags, which she knows how to carry, and preemptively styled that simple outfit to complement. Great taste, and golly, she's cute. Though not quite as cute as Satoru Gojo, whose entire dance sequence screams one inescapable fact at your face. This guy
is cool.
Fucks. The other modern pillars of Shonen Jump are a little less modern in their sensibilities, yet no less trippy in their execution. Demon Slayer, for instance, has permanently raised the bar for yukata and kimono designs in anime and manga, with its seemingly endless array of gorgeous, eye-catching patterns.
It's amazing how they can make the kimono look so different for everyone wearing one.
Looking at you, Shinobu, will never stop looking at you. Take the entire idea of traditional Japanese clothing in radical new directions. And then there's Kibutsuji Muzo, whose style, as is only appropriate for an immortal vampire king, or the king of pop, is truly timeless. Dr. Stone's style, meanwhile, is anything but. It don't get more retro than this inspired fusion of traditional Japanese elements, modern Tokyo fashion, lab coats, and caveman loincloths. Gen Asagiri deserves to be a fashion icon.
It is an interesting take on the design. I never really thought what they wear in Dr. Stone like that.
Though nobody else could pull it off. Tsukasa makes the whole primeval warlord thing look simultaneously brutal and elegant. And every single girl's outfit manages to be fresh and unique, while simultaneously proving Kiyoshi from Prison School's groundbreaking thesis about human evolution. You know the one. Dr. Stone's artist, Boichi, is a certified booty genius. The Promised Neverland is, very thankfully, about as far from that stylistic school as you can get.
Thankfully,
and you may not think of it as stylish, but think again. Its characters do, for the most part, only wear one thing in two gendered variations, but that one thing is striking in its elegant, timeless simplicity, as is Isabella's nunnish uniform. Emma and Rei are due for some very good costume changes in the near future of the anime, and where we're at presently, Sanju and Mujika both sport quality fantasy fits. I especially love the cascading, interlocking layers of her robe. Also, there's a whole other layer of fashion meta to get into.
Priscilla from Dark Souls
has a dress exactly like that.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I could keep going basically forever, This is an infinite topic, and speaking of infinity, Skate the
Oh,
Infinity's
yes.
cast is packed end to
These
end
guys
with
look so
instant
sick.
icons. Ai's yellow hoodie and Wonder Egg Priority is perfect.
Still not watched Wonder Egg yet.
Jihan's got a
But I'm
spooky
loving
sort of
Skate the
drip
Infinity.
going on. Horimiya is basically about
We need to
personal
watch Horimiya?
style. The girls in Other Side Picnic look great and complement each other perfectly. The ones to watch for Winter 2021 alone
Was a
could
good video.
double this
Check it
video's
out.
length. And every show I've already mentioned deserves to be picked apart with far greater analytical depth than its own exhaustive video essay, which, speaking honestly, I'm probably not equipped to make. But my goal today was only to take an inert ball that I think could do some serious rolling and give it a little influencerly push. I'm hoping that more fashion-minded folks in the comments and other anime essayists, video and otherwise, will be able to render everything I've just said conversationally obsolete inside a month or two. 3 questions to help get that started. 1. What anime do you think has the most style? 2. Which shonen character is the drippiest of them all? For bonus points, answer this question in the form of a tier list. And 3. What anime fantasy world do you think has the best fashion overall?
Interesting.
Let me know down in the comments, and please argue with each other about it. Without being toxic, we're trying to have fun here. Please argue with me, too. I was definitely way too mean to Deku. You can also @ me on Twitter if and when you've
He
made
has
a video
got boring
of your own.
character design though when it comes to his clothes.
If you have time, maybe check out these videos of my own. I'm Jeff Thu, professional shitbag,
Signing out from my mother's basement. That's really... Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a more, like he said at the end, a more of an analytical look at why characters wear what they wear. But I like the funny take he did on that. That was good. That was cool.
He didn't bring up the fashion to do with One Piece and pirates. Maybe you can give your take on that, since your viewers have been begging you to watch it now for over a year, and you said you would.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, you know quite a bit about One Piece now, don't you?
Maybe I could talk about the fashion in...
You should make a video about it.
I could, because
Yeah,
I've
I
read
think you
so
should.
much One Piece.
I mean, we're getting close to February now of this year, and wasn't it last year your New Year's resolution was to watch One Piece?
So, anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, yes, all you guys, next time. Bye. I hate you.